Hey guys, welcome back. In this video I'm going to be voicing over a handful of these dives we did last weekend. We went down to Islamorada with one of my good friends Jake and did a little bit of freediving and spearfishing. This here we're in about 50 feet of water and you can see there's a little school of mangroves hanging out in this little pocket here, and this one really healthy one swims right up to me and I get a real nice stone shot on him. Pull him in and bring him to the boat. Diving about 50 feet, big school of yellowtail up in mid-water and big school of these guys underneath. Got a nice shot and got him in the boat. While I was throwing that mangrove in the boat, my buddy Jake had a shot on a real nice mutton snapper, and as you can see right there, he had kind of nerfed the fish and he definitely wasn't swimming good anymore. Definitely hurt him, but he had popped off the spear. I switched over to my view here. You can see Jake coming up and I swim over, got the gun loaded. You can see the mutton laying there on the bottom. Now when you nerve a fish like this, they can come back, so there was a little bit of a urgency to get another shaft in him before he either kind of snaps out of it and gets away, or a shark comes in and tries to take it from us. So I come down, put a nice shot up through the gills and out of the head of the fish. Unfortunately, the shaft, with that double band, I had put the shaft clean through the fish and into the rock below. You could hear my reel going there. My dad went down, was able to dislodge the shaft, and we brought up the mutton. Real nice fish. Again, we're still in that 50-foot stuff, but for down here, this is a stud mutton.
Healthy mutton, man.
Nice one.
So I'm coming in, did a nice dive down, and I didn't even have to keep kicking on my way down because he just swam right up to me. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Beautiful, beautiful fish.
A solid black. Let's go solid black. That would be good.
I haven't even seen a black at this point.
Really?
Not one.
Damn. Not even like a, oh, he's short. Wow, okay.
Oh shit, there's a nice black laying on the bottom.
Oh, crap. Okay, I'll be right back.
Go figure, right? There's a nice black over here. Black. Black grouper.
Don't tell Jake.
Terrible.
So as you heard, my dad had spotted a nice black grouper. We called Jake over and everybody hopped back in. I went ahead and took a dive on this fish. And I'm coming down. He had kind of tucked up in this little rock here. And it's a little bit deep, so definitely want to take my time getting down and kind of orient myself so I'm ready to take a shot as I roll this edge here. You can see I have the gun ready, kind of coming in and checking it out upside down, and upon first glance I don't see anything, but right here I make a little bit of noise. For a split second you can see the fish and he shoots off up into the sand, and it was a good thing that we had everybody in one spot so that they could identify that the fish had left and they could chase him on the surface and figure out what hole he's going into. This is the next dive. My dad's going in and taking a peek, trying to figure out where the fish is. And you can see right before he comes up, he kind of points his arms, kind of letting me know exactly how the fish is laying. And before the fish has time to move, I take a dive. I knew I had Jake there, playing safety for my dad. And I have the gun ready again. This is another rock that the fish had gone into. Just take my time. You don't want to make a ton of noise when you approach the rock like this, so try to be very careful, because if you make a lot of noise, that fish is likely going to spook out of the rock. You can see here I'm trying to figure out exactly where this fish is laying. I decided to check through this small hole here, and you can see him laying there. He's kind of silhouetted. Unfortunately, I didn't have the gun ready to go, so I have to get the gun back out. I was pretty fortunate that the fish didn't move during this whole thing, but line it up and take a shot. because that opening was on the other side, my shaft went clean through the hole. And before I had even gotten back to the surface, you can see a nurse shark was already there. So they were kind of wise to it, and you'll see here in a second, we have another good-sized bull shark that comes in and checks us out.
Ah, fuck, there's a big shark now.
So my dad and I had both just come up from a dive. Jake was the next one to go down. This is his dive here. Again, it's pretty deep. We had a couple of sharks in the area. You can see that grouper has now come out of the rock, kicked up a bunch of dust. The nurse shark's down there trying to get a hold of the grouper. You can see the bulls right here checking it out. And I'm pretty sure if Jake hadn't taken this dive right when he did, this grouper would have been toast out in the open like this. Jake goes down and tries to get the shaft out. You can see it's just all kicked up, and that bull shark is just circling. Jake decides to cut the line, grab the fish, grab his gun, and come up before things escalate any further. Fortunately, that bull shark decided it wasn't a good idea to try to fight Jake for that fish. Unfortunately, we got the fish in the boat.
Dad! Jake, throw him in the boat. Dad! Grab my gun, I'll go get yours.
Here.
I see a box progress report here.
You got a nice black, nice mangy.
Nice man, that's a stud.
Fat mangrove.
Woo,
That's a stud freaking mutton too.
beautiful fish, boys.
That's a good freaking start, huh? So we already had a couple of really nice fish in the boat. We decided to hop back in and keep drifting this same bit of reef in about 50 feet of water. This is my dad's view. He's taking a dive on this real nice coral head. And when you have something like this that's got a lot of relief under it, it's just prime territory for a good grouper. You can see my dad's rolling this edge, fully expecting a grouper to be in the head or in the area. Checking it out. You can see there's tons of life. Nice little cave. Pokes his head up, and right there in front of him in the rock next to him is a nice grouper, and Jake is right there to take the shot on him. As you can probably hear, I'm up at the surface this whole time, making all sorts of noise, trying to let my dad know that there's a real nice grouper right next to him. And as you saw, I had already taken my grouper for the day, so while I could have easily taken that dive, Jake swims down and gets a real nice shot on this fish. It was a little bit of a head-on shot, but as you can see, it got the job done. Fortunately, the fish didn't rock up, and Jake was able to wrangle him up to the surface.
No, he was right next to him. He didn't see it.
Damn!
I was trying. I was like, what the fuck? He's right
I was
there.
looking
I know.
under a ledge.
I was making all sorts of noise. I was like, ah! He's right there.
Now on a different dive, I forgot to turn my camera on. I was able to pick up this nice fishing rod, and you can see it had been laying on the bottom for a while.
Oh, did it come with a lure too? No.
Hey, drag still works.
Oh, dude, you could probably clean that up.
I don't know. You want to bring it in to throw it away, or?
Well, highlight of the day, so would be fine. We're looking at Derek, and like at first it looks like a spear shaft, but like I'm like, damn, that's a really long spear shaft, and I was like, what the hell is that? And he starts wiggling it, and we realize it's a rod and reel setup, and we're like, oh my god, it's so funny, and it's like looks perfectly intact. Well, we're gonna see now how actually perfectly intact it is.
Rod. The drag still works too. A little crusty. We'll bring it in and throw it away.
Well, after my dad had an opportunity at the last two fish, but didn't quite get to pull the trigger himself, when he spotted this grouper out in the sand swimming to this little hole, he was real quiet about it. So as he's going down, it's about 50 feet of water. He's going to roll this edge real quiet like, hoping that he can see the fish. This clip kind of goes to show that these fish can fit in some pretty small holes, and especially when you're in deeper water like this, it's real easy to swim right past a fish that's under a rock. And as you can see right there, there's the stomach of the grouper, so he's definitely identified where the fish is at. Kind of has to maneuver himself so he can get a shot in the head. Gets the gun ready, pulls the trigger, and swims up. You can see me and Jake weren't too far behind after we saw that he had identified another fish. This dive here is, again, Jake's. He's making a recovery dive on this grouper. We had already seen a couple of sharks this day, so we wanted to get this grouper out pretty quickly as to not draw any unwanted attention. So Jake's taking a dive, takes a look up to make sure he's landing in the right spot on his way down. And you can see here that grouper had kicked up a lot of dirt and sand. And Jake's just got to work him out of this pretty small hole. You can see he's kind of got his arm fully extended into that rock, and he's looking straight back up at the surface while trying to get a good handle on the fish. And you can see about here, he thinks about coming up, but then says he thinks he can get it. So he goes back in, same position, arm fully into the rock, kind of wrangling this fish out of the rock. Gets his hand in the gills and is able to pull this fish out. And if you look at the clock, this dive is about 1 minute and 15 seconds, which when you're wrestling with a grouper at the bottom is a pretty impressive dive.
Nice black, right? Beautiful black. We already filled the cooler with some quality fish. We're just letting the girls get some dives in on some shallower stuff, see if they can't plug a nice fish. So far, I'm successful.
So far.
Lots of chasing, but I think they're gonna get one. Me and Derek are driving the boat. About to pop open the box, show you guys what we got. This mangrove, guys, is 24 inches. 23-inch mangrove right here.
That frickin' black, man. 8 inches to the back of the gills. As you guys can see, we definitely got a nice box of fish, and when we saw this storm on the horizon, we decided to head on home. So if you guys like this video and want to see some more spearfishing content down in the Florida Keys, feel free to like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Till next time.